Thank you for being here. And thank y'all as well.
You doing okay?
I am. I'm doing well. Tony, how are you? Good, thank you. I am fine. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Good morning, and thank all of you for being here. This is one of those events that's a real pleasure for me, not only because I get to be with Dwayne Cowart, but because we have some exciting news this morning as we continue what is going to surely be a long road to recovery here in South Louisiana from the August floods. I want to thank the folks who are here with us this morning from Verizon, especially Krista Bourne, who is the market president, but also attending today is Captain Brett Meredith, commanding officer of the Salvation Army, as well as Congressman Garrett Graves, who's been working so hard with all of us in order to make sure that we can recover as soon as possible. Obviously, with the folks who are here to my left, you get some idea why we're gathering this morning. Our communities are hurting in the wake of devastating flooding, and among those affected are the very organizations we rely on in times of trouble, like the Salvation Army. That organization has remained committed, I should say, to helping others, as they always do, despite their own catastrophic losses. The Salvation Army's Baton Rouge Corps sustained a tremendous amount of water damage during the flood, including their administrative building, their store, their shelter, and their new men's shelter that was almost complete. And all the while, the Salvation Army continued their efforts to help the thousands of families that were themselves impacted by the floodwaters. So I'm not only impressed with the resilience of our charitable organizations, but with the outpouring of generosity from local and nationwide businesses, because recovery from a disaster of this magnitude is an all-hands-on-deck endeavor. And it requires all of us to come together and lend a hand, and that's exactly what businesses like Verizon are doing. In addition to their donation today, which is $75,000, as I understand it, to the Salvation Army, Verizon provided a temporary trailer for the Salvation Army to work out of after the flood. They offered data forgiveness to over 300,000 customers. They deployed a store on wheels to Denham Springs, and they invited the community into their stores to utilize phones, chargers, and internet free of charge, regardless of who the carrier provider was for that individual. So it's that sort of generosity that inspires us all and makes it such a great day for us. In addition to doing all that, they were busy working to make sure that they had system reliability for Verizon. They employed coats and cows and crows, and I don't know what all those things are, but I know that they had to do with getting the cell phone service back up, which is incredibly important because every passing day more people turn to wireless service as opposed to landlines. And so when those wireless services go down, the ability for the government to work, the ability for the nonprofit sector to work, private sector, but individuals in their homes who need help, they have to have communication in order to be able to effectively let people know where they are and what assistance they need. So we are extremely proud today to announce the donation of $75,000 by Verizon to the Salvation Army to assist with area relief and rebuilding efforts, including the Salvation Army's own facilities here in Baton Rouge that were damaged. So I want to thank all the representatives of Verizon and the Salvation Army who are here with us today, as well as the folks to my right who are state legislators here. We have Senator Regina Barrow. We've got Kenny Havert, Tony Bacala, and Ted James. Those three individuals are state representatives from the Baton Rouge area, and they wanted to be here today, and by their presence signify their appreciation as well for what Verizon is doing and what the Salvation Army is doing. We do have a good long way to go yet on this recovery, but I will tell you we are all inspired by the way the people of Louisiana have responded, their resiliency, their toughness, their decency, and this is just another indication of that. And so I'm going to now be followed by Krista, but I want to just again say how much I appreciate y'all for being here and for what you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you, Governor. So on behalf of Verizon, what I want to make sure that I just communicate is how important every community is, including the one that was impacted here with the recent floods. We came to support the community because we have employees who we love dearly that work here, and the communities that they live in, that they've grown up in, that they care so deeply about, needed support. We invest in our network so that we are ready for moments like this. We hope to not have to have these moments, of course, but we put over $5 billion in our network in the first half of the year. We put $17 million in our network here in the state of Louisiana, and we will always spend our first and our last dollar on the network so that people can rely on the services that we provide, just like they rely on the community services provided by people in great organizations like the Salvation Army. So we're so happy to be able to support everybody, and we look forward to being part of the ongoing recovery that is definitely still underway. Thank you.
It's incredibly overwhelming to be the recipient of a gift like this, particularly after what we have all been through over the past several months since the floods. We were grateful that our own home was spared, but so many weren't. It is incredible to see how people have stepped in to help their neighbors, to help people they don't even know. And so, as the Salvation Army, when we lost everything, we knew that we had to step up so that people would begin to gain hope and help again. And so we did what we needed to do. We served over 200,000 meals. We served more than 80,000 people from our social services, and not the least of which was because Verizon stepped up and provided command resources so that we could have wireless network again, so that we could get somewhere for our command staff to actually meet and work out of during this disaster. So thank you so very much to Verizon and to so many others that stepped in and pulled together to bring our community back. Thank you so much, and Governor, thank you for your support as well. Thank you.
All these people saying nice things about Verizon. I want to flip that over for a minute. I got a phone call from my wife during the middle of the flood, and she's mad at me for not being home for a few days and letting me have it. And I got the phone, and you said, "You still there?" "Yes, I am." So the reliability, I was actually frustrated that the call didn't drop. So, no, look, seriously, you know, this whole disaster, this whole flood disaster has been marked by our community coming together. And whether it was the Cajun Army, whether it was the Legislator Army, that I know these folks were out there very involved in rescue and recovery efforts, or the Salvation Army. This whole disaster has been marked by our community coming together. Everyone working together and providing whatever resources they had. Literally watching people take shirts off their back, shoes off their feet to give to people who were flood victims and lost everything. People are giving the resources that they had to help our community recover. And Verizon has been fantastic throughout this disaster, and the resiliency of their network that helped us, I know, during the rescue efforts to, again, taking some of the resources they have available and helping us to recover in this area. So I want to thank the Salvation Army for all of their efforts that have been great corporate citizens in lifting up our community throughout this disaster, despite the challenges that they've experienced, but especially want to thank Verizon for continuing to help us through this recovery effort and helping us communicate, helping us get resources where they need to be so our community can recover as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, does that conclude the event? I think it does. Thank y'all very much again for being here today, and stay tuned because we're going to have a lot more announcements like this as we continue our recovery efforts here in Baton Rouge and across the state of Louisiana. Thank you.